My name is Jeff Morgan. I am from Dallas, Texas, and today is Wednesday, July the 13th. Wanted to bring everybody up to date on a couple of things that are going on right now, some updates, and also I wanted to make an appeal for people that can help with finances. We've got a number of things going on right now, and I think to me it seems like we're at the precipice of starting to break these family court corruption wide open and making sure that we have an impact so that our children and our grandchildren do not have to face this evil family court system. So the first thing I wanted to bring you up to date about was the David Henderson story. For those of you who are following it, David Henderson was the father of a dying son, Corbin. I believe he was 14 when he died a week ago Saturday. And there was a judge prior to that told his father that, you can have 2 15-minute FaceTime calls a day with your son, even though he was dying. And some judge decided that he was going to award the father 2 15-minute FaceTime calls a day. Well, this became a story that evidently got the court's attention because, as far as I understand, a lot of people called, and the judge decided to see things in a little bit different light. He actually let David see his son a couple of hours a day. I don't know, between 2 and 4 hours a day, something like that, 4 days out of 5. His son wanted both parents to be involved with him. His son knew something was wrong, did not realize, I don't think, that he was going to be dying. But anyway, because of the activism of many people, the judge actually gave the father the ability to see his son, his dying son. Now, the grandparents have also suffered because of this. The grandparents were allowed one 90-minute visit with their grandson prior to his death. That is heartless, it's cruel, it's abominable. It is such a perverse judgment that I still can't get over this. Uncles and aunts, to the best of my knowledge, were not allowed, but the grandparents were allowed a 90-minute visit. How sweet, how merciful, how kind of that judge to do something. And what it comes down to is that there was a situation where the mother decided to hire a law firm. To the best of my knowledge, it was Kuntz Fuller. They will come up again and again and again whenever you see cases of family corruption. I don't have any words to describe them. But anyway, the judge listened to the mother and put these abusive, exploitive, just completely cruel, unusual punishment almost rulings into effect until we got involved. Now, the family just buried their son and their grandson a couple of days ago. And that video is out online. We got in the funeral. We've tried to give them some privacy. But now we are also going to rise up again to make sure that this does not happen again in the future to the best that we can. So just to let you know that there is a movie studio out in the area that they've given us free use of their facilities to do some filming. They knew David, and they knew what a good man he was, and they donated their time to us so that we could do some shooting for a documentary. Now, it turned out that because of the timing of things, not everybody was able to get there, but we are going to be coming in and finishing up later on. But the other thing is that we want to make sure that it is of quality, such a quality that it could actually be put on something like Netflix or Amazon. And we hope that after that it can raise some revenue either through sales or through ads or something along those lines. Because what we really need to do is to be able to fund some of this stuff going forward. Anyway, the studio has been tremendous, but there is going to be editing time. If we're going to want to have a professionally done film, we're going to have professional editing done. Even though they're going to give us a significantly reduced rate from my understanding, we still need to have money for this. And I think that we're probably talking about $5,000 to get the editing done and then putting out the film later on. This cannot happen again in the state of Texas. It should not be happening anywhere. It never should have happened to begin with. But the way that we need to honor the memory of Corbin and the way that we need to fight is to make sure that this does not happen again. So we're going to need about $5,000 for that, just for the editing part. We've got a few other things coming up as well. My friends at Dad Talk today, Eric Carroll, Robert Garza, they're going to be at a conference next week in Washington, D.C. Eric was asked to come up there on the fatherless issue. Now, both Eric and Robert go together on a lot of these things. I get to join whenever I can, usually, but it's not frequently that I get to do this. But Robert has been there to videotape with Eric. They've been going to these things. Last year, they went to 43 different states. But the reality is that sometimes you just lack the finances to do it. You put stuff on credit and you hope and you pray that the funds will come in. So we do need some money for that as well. Tickets, airline tickets, hotel tickets, and also vehicle rental for Robert and for Eric, and food and stuff like that. They aren't making money on this, trust me. They are basically just trying to have their expenses paid. And one of the things that I'm excited about is that one of the individuals up there, as far as I know, is supposed to be somebody who was close to Ron DeSantis. Now, Ron DeSantis, I like. He's a very good, oriented family man, but just recently he made a decision that I thought was atrocious. And I don't know why he made the decision the way that he did. There's a couple of different ways you could look at it. It could have been the way that the thing was written. It could have been because some anti-family lawyers got into his ear and tried to convince him of something. I believe that if Ron DeSantis actually had the people telling him what is going on in our court systems, that perhaps he would have looked at the whole thing differently, and he would have signed off. I believe it was on a 50-50 equal shared parenting and another number of other things as well. You know, again, I think that Ron DeSantis is a good man. I think he made a terrible mistake, and perhaps because we didn't have people in his ear giving him the lowdown of what really takes place in our family courts and how this family destruction industry has been destroying relationships between children and their parents. Anyway, Eric plans to go there, and he's not just going to be talking about the so-called fatherless issue. There are going to be people talking about the father initiative and stuff like that. And I know there's people that like it, people that don't like it. But the reality is that these courts are destroying our families, and we have to talk to the people about what's happening with the courts. We have to talk with them about the federal incentives that are being given in Title 4D money. But we need to talk about the federal incentives, the perverse federal incentives that actually lead to the destruction of our families instead of actually the preservation of our families. I've talked with Eric about it, and he is planning to be very straightforward, very forthright about the whole thing. You're not going to be playing into this game that, oh, we have a fatherless issue. Yes, we do, but most fatherless issues are caused by government policy and from our anti-family courts and our anti-family attorneys. That's just the reality. Same thing with mothers. When mothers are taken out of a child's life, it's not usually because the mother wants to leave. It's usually because there is an anti-family court. It is a terrible state statute. It is an anti-family attorney who is found some way to plunder the courts and these people and to make one person the visitor into that child's life. We have to talk about these issues, because if we just talk about fatherlessness and motherlessness, we are not talking about the corruption issues, the injustice issues that take place. Anyway, Robert and Eric are going to be up there. They need the money to finance this stuff. Again, I know that they put it on credit right now. He doesn't have the money coming in for it, but any donations toward that would be appreciated. CPAC is coming to Dallas in, I believe it's the beginning of August. I think it's August 3rd through the 6th. We have media passes there. One of the exciting things that happened, we've been going to CPAC now for maybe the last three or four CPAC events, something like that. And at a certain point, people start to recognize you and notice you as one of the mainstays. There was a sponsor there that had a large booth that was able to live stream from the booth. And evidently they had to pull out, and they asked somebody, who can we give it to? Somebody who can't afford it, but somebody who will use it. And you know who was mentioned? Dad Talk Today. So we're starting to see some of these things that were just there, and sometimes it feels like we're there and we're like, man, it's just hard to be away from our families. It's hard to pick up and leave all the time and to go someplace, and yet it seems now that some of the stuff is being actually acknowledged and being rewarded. And it's something that when they ask, who can we put up there that can't afford it? Dad Talk Today. Now, there was going to be a small fee that had to be paid, and I believe that's already been covered. But we still need plane tickets for Eric to come in here. There's going to be some other people coming up and helping, and we're going to need to have some, probably some stays for them, either at a hotel if they're not staying with people here. So we do have financial needs with that. And again, during that time is also when we're going to be shooting some more of the movie about the documentary for David Henderson and his son Corbin, that this atrocity never takes place again in the state of Texas. Finally, after that, Eric's going to be heading up to Idaho. There's some other stuff going on up there. He'll need airplane tickets for that. And again, I'm asking for funds right now, not for myself. I'm not asking so that somebody can make money. I need to address something here, because last year some people were saying that Eric was making up to $80,000 a month, and that he was taking money out of the community. That was complete hogwash. It was slander. It was based on no facts whatsoever. I was furious when I saw what was taking place. That did not happen. Some people started to look, well, Eric's just a charlatan, he's just this. Some people that I know very well that completely lied about him, and I was livid. For the most part, I kept it in, but I did have a couple of talks with some people. But anyway, that is not what it all happened last year with Dad Talk Today. I believe last year, perhaps, Dad Talk Today maybe grossed about $10,000 more than the expenses. Everything that came into Dad Talk Today was being used either for trips or for conferences or for fees or the documentary, I Stand With John. Most of that stuff went back into advertising. Eric was devoting his time, donating his time in ways that none of us could. I couldn't do it. I did what I could to help out. And I also contributed financially to the events as well and to the causes, but I couldn't do it. And I was so glad that we had somebody there who was a spokesman, a spokesperson on behalf of families in America. Somebody who's now being recognized, not just in places like Washington, D.C., but even among news media places. And by the way, there's this upcoming conference that's coming up. My understanding is, and I can't verify this yet, but there will be some major news networks there, possibly even Fox News. And this is what we need. We have fought this fight as individuals for so long. We need to come together as a movement and channel our resources together. And if anybody thinks we're doing it for our name or something like that, that has nothing to do with it. For so many of us, we have given and given and given, not expecting anything in return. Personally, I've gone to a number of these conferences on my own dime, not looking for anything in return. Every so often, a couple of people have donated to help me out, and I am so grateful when that happens. But for the most part, we have just been giving and giving and giving. And the sacrifices that our families have faced have been significant. So anyway, this is kind of what's going on in the future here after that. And by the way, the people up in D.C., there are going to be some big name people. I believe there's going to be some congressmen up there that are on part of the White House like fatherhood initiative staff, or it's, again, I don't know if it's fatherhood initiatives or it's trying to help out black families, black fathers in particular. I don't know all the details about that, but this is something that we just can't pass up. We're looking to possibly later on in August or September of actually going into inner city Baltimore and actually doing an event there. So if you look at inner city Baltimore, where there's a lot of fatherlessness, where you see the results of fatherlessness, you see the results actually of bad government policy, which has created fatherlessness, which has created motherlessness, which has broken families completely. Bad government policies, usually so that somebody can get child support. We make one person a visitor so that that person can pay child support. We've had so many people incarcerated because they've been unable to pay child support. Everything comes down to child support all the time. Everything comes down to money, so it seems, time and time and time again. Whether you're a mother, whether you're a father. Anyway, we want to address these issues. So I'm asking and I'm begging, and I'm going to be donating myself. If you have the money to do so, we're probably going to need between $15,000 and $20,000 to pull all of this off. Personally, I'm going to give $1,000 toward it. And the reality is, I know that there's a lot of you out there that can't give that much, but I know that there are some of you out there that $1,000 would be what you might spend on a dinner in some place. So I'm asking you, begging you, please, we do need some money, and we're not using again to get rich. We're not profiting off of this. We're using it to cover expenses. We're using it to cover plane tickets, hotels, food when we're there. Editing. The editing of this video is a big deal. To be up at the conference in D.C. I mean, how often is it that somebody from D.C. calls you and says, "Wait, can you come up here?" And getting calls from media to come on and to explain what you're doing, what you're working with. So again, we need probably, I would say, $15,000 minimum. $20,000 would give us a little bit of cushion and allow us to continue to do more. Because the reality is we're always strapped for money. We've turned down invitations because we just didn't have the money to do it. I know personally, I work full-time and I can't get up and go to some of these events. I know many of you are the same way. Or you have children that you're taking care of, or grandchildren. Or you're just like, I've been broke from the family courts. I've got to prepare for my trial next. You know what? We need to have something like a sledgehammer coming in and busting this stuff up. And that's what Dad Talk Today has been able to do to some degree. Anyway, I look forward to seeing what's going to happen here in Texas. As most people know, I am a Christian. I look at things from a biblical perspective. In the Old Testament, there was a servant that came to Elijah because Elijah told, go and see if there's a cloud coming yet. Elijah prayed 7 times. And finally, the servant came back and said, Elijah, I see the cloud the size of a fist on the horizon. To which Elijah said, you go tell Ahab, get your chariots down, the rains are coming. And I don't know when these rains are coming here. We're going to wash away the corruption and the filth of these family courts, the immorality, the injustices, the abuses that take place on a daily basis, that we witness on a daily basis. You can watch them on YouTube right now. Every day you'll see more family court injustice. We don't know when it's happening, but for many of us, we have the feeling inside like something's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to be. But, we've tried to be faithful so that at the very least, if we're not gaining ground, we're at least holding ground. But we've got some big events coming up here. I'm going to ask some of you, if you can, to give $1,000. I'm going to give you the Cash Apps, the PayPal, the Venmo, all the different ways you can contribute. Some of you, really, you've been affected by it. You know it. You can do this easily. And, for us, it's been amazing to me how much has been done with so little. And that's not to depreciate or denigrate the contribution, the sacrifices that many have made. But when it comes down to finances, look at the Goliath on the other side. The Anti-Family Law Foundation, Steve and Amy Bresnan, they get more as lobbyists destroying families by far than what Dad Talk gets in the course of a year. Contrary to this idea that somehow Eric was making $80,000 a month, which again was slander, it was jealousy, it was complete falsehood, and I know that. I was there, I saw it. So this was just, it was horrendous what these people did, basically because I guess they were not the main sponsors of this stuff. Personally, I've always said this, I don't care whether my name is attached to some of this stuff. I want the satisfaction of knowing that when this foundation crumbles, that I will have picked up a sledgehammer and that I will have given it some weakening blows. I don't care who gets the final blow. We all have to be in this together. We have to take down this evil, corrupt system. So in order to, if you want to give, and again, I'm asking you, I'm begging you to do so, just so that we can do these things, because I think that some of these things have a great potential. So if you use Cash App, you use Dad Talk Today. It's all small case letter. DADTALKTODY. Dad Talk Today at Cash App. If you're using PayPal, use Local Productions with an S at yahoo.com. That's LOCALPRODUCTIONS at yahoo.com. If you're using Venmo, use Lawrence-Carroll-8. That's capital LAWRENCE dash capital CARROLL dash the number 8. If you want to do something through Zelle, if you send an email to dadtalktoday@gmail.com, they can, or if you contact me directly, you can contact me. I'll put my contact information down here, the email that I use to expose CPS corruption. Contact me there. I'll give you the stuff. I just don't want to put Eric's number out there. And when if you do give, if you say, hey, I want to give, I want to help out, I'm just begging you, please don't add your own case to it. Eric, I need you to look through these documents. I need you to look through those documents. You cannot believe how many thousands of emails he has. And the reality is, I just get a couple of people that doing that, and I'm like, man, it just overwhelms me. And he gets this all the time. So sometimes he appears non-responsive. It's just that he's got thousands of emails that he's behind with. Every single one of us are volunteers. Eric took his money that he got from a job that he used it to build Dad Talk Today studios. And he had other people that helped him out with that. I've been to his house. He does not live in a mansion like some people would like to think. He lives in a trailer, a double-wide trailer. I've been there, I know it. And I've seen Dad Talk Today studios. And it's amazing, once again, that out in Georgia, this little place, that it's having an impact, not just in the United States, but it's having an impact in other parts of the world too. I'm gonna ask you once again to please give to these projects. The editing for the Corbin Henderson documentary. I think the documentary is probably gonna be about an hour and a half long. I've been there for part of the filming. It was powerful. And and depending upon how the editing goes, we're going to have professional editors doing this stuff. So again, they're going to give us a significantly reduced rate, but I don't think that we can ask them to do it for free. Once again, also too, there's the conference next week up in DC, where it's not, yeah, they're going to talk about fatherlessness, but we've got to be honest. It's government policy. It's anti-family courts. It's anti-family judges. It's anti-family attorneys who abuse people for profit. That's what's causing the fatherless issue, the motherless issue. That's what's destroying our family. We need to get our policy right, and we need to start fixing these corrupt, evil, wicked courts so that they rule with justice. If they should be even ruling at all. CPAC 2022, once again, it's amazing to me that after having been there, I think 4 or 5 times right now, somebody said we have a booth. It's going to be able to live stream. We want to give it to somebody who can't afford it. And one of the individuals there said, Dad, talk today. So please, we still need finances to help with that. So for Eric to get over here for tickets, for other things that are associated with that. Also for his trip up to Idaho. I don't know all the details about that, but I know he'll be up in Idaho for probably about a week as well, working on a few things. The Baltimore trip. We believe that when we get to the inner cities of Baltimore, this is in the works right now. It should be a pretty big deal once it takes off. But we're going to be looking for sponsors up there. Primarily, we're going to be looking for local people to do stuff, to donate food trucks, whatever. We want to make sure that the inner city community knows what's going on here and that we can actually touch the hearts and minds of people and start to rebuild the cities. It's not just enough to curse the darkness. We have to be holding a lantern. We have to be carrying a light. We've got to be bringing healing. And the way that we bring healing, first off, is by telling the truth and by helping people out who have been oppressed by these evil anti-family court systems and doctrines. Anyway, once again, my name's Jeff Morgan from Dallas, Texas. I'm begging you, if you can, to please contribute to this. You know, again, none of this is going to us. I'm begging on behalf of the events coming up. We just need to be able to cover our expenses. Several years ago, there was a case, for some of you that know, we filed a case with the U.S. Supreme Court to repeal no-fault divorce, actually have a whole state statute declared unconstitutional. And here was the reality that we had to face. We knew we had at best a 1% chance of it actually being heard. But we had spent a long time on it, and what it came down to was that we needed about $3,600 just to have a shot at it. Did I really think we had a shot? We hoped, but you know, it was basically 1% chance is better than 0% chance. So, I mean, I came up with the whole $3,600 myself because we have to keep fighting against this stuff. And again, I'm asking you, if you can, to help with this. We've given. I'll be giving here. I know other people that will be giving. If you can, please give. And I will also include the information to contribute down in the commentary here. Once again, Cash App. It's Dad Talk Today, PayPal, Local Productions with an S at yahoo.com, Venmo, Lawrence-Carroll, CARROLL-8, and then Gmail, dadtalktoday@gmail, or contact me and I can give you the information if you want to use Zelle. Anyway, thank you so much. I hope and I pray that this comes across in the right spirit. I think we have a great opportunity to continue to not just bring forth the message. I believe that we're winning in this. The victory may not be here yet, but I think that the tide has been turning enough in our direction. And if we give up right now, it's going to be like you've run a race, a marathon, and you're going to quit with 200 yards to go. We've got to keep pushing through. I think we can do it. Again, for those who can give more, please do. For those who can't, please give something. Please pray for us too. There's been so many times that for me, I've just said, okay, I don't know what we're going to walk into. All I know is to walk through the next door. And it seems to me that when I walk through that door, that God opens up many other doors as well. You see this church, God, family, and country. We need to be standing for God. We need to be standing for family. We need to be standing for country. Please help us. We do need this right now. I'm asking you once again, this is my update. This is my appeal. To those who can, we appreciate it. Thank you so much once again. Appreciate it. Thank you all much.